All right, intro macro students, welcome to this lecture, which will be on real versus nominal GDP, specifically the mechanics of adjusting nominal GDP to real GDP or vice versa, or solving for the GDP deflator. So this is one of a three-part series for this block of material, chapters 5, 6, and 7. With respect to GDP, inflation, and unemployment. So this is the real versus nominal GDP. And what I'm going to do here is the best way to learn economics, as I have repeatedly said, is to do economics. And so this is an example of the different ways that you can deal with real and nominal GDP quantitatively. So I posted this example in Canvas, so go ahead and open this up, and it's the blank one. What I'm going to do is work through it together with you. You can always stop, rewind, pause, whatever you need to do to make sure that you understand the calculations, how I went from one step of algebra to another step of algebra, and so on. So hopefully this will help. The idea is that with these three videos, one on real versus nominal GDP, the next one that I will post will be on unemployment, and then the last one will be on inflation, that the three lectures and handouts collectively will help you to do the homework number 5. Now, don't be intimidated. Homework number 5 does cover all three topics, relatively short, very short questions. They're not like the supply and demand where you have like A through G markets that you have to draw. So it's pretty straightforward. That being said, make sure you leave yourself enough time to get it done, obviously, but it shouldn't take nearly as long as that data collection and analysis project took. And I can't wait to read those. I know you guys put a lot of time and energy into them, and hopefully you'll be rewarded with some really good grades on those. So, all right. So without any further ado, let me open up the exercise called Real and Nominal GDP handout, and then talk through that, do the calculations, and hopefully clarify just how to do the algebra in some cases. So give me a second here to share my screen. Share screen. I'm going to go to my Word document where I have this opened up for you. And so in this case, okay. I had to read a little memo about my color scheme, but hopefully you can see this. It's black and white. I'm not sure what they mean about color scheme, but this is an in-class exercise that I would normally do in a face-to-face classroom. We would work through this together, talk it out as a class. So now we're going to talk it out through Zoom. And so the formula is right here. The formula says that to get real GDP on the left-hand side, what you need to do is you need to take nominal GDP and divide that by the deflator for that year times 100. So real GDP, just to remind you, is expressed in constant or base dollars. It's taken, the effects of inflation have been taken out, okay? The nominal GDP is just the current level of GDP at the current level prices. So 2015 nominal GDP would include 2015 quantities as well as 2015 prices. If we wanted to adjust that to the base year, let's say the base year is 2000, we would find real GDP for 2015, which would be equal to nominal GDP in 2015 divided by the deflator in 2015 times 100. So that's the general formula. Let's see what it looks like. So here's a table. You have three possible unknowns. The 100 is always going to be 100. So the three possible unknowns, real GDP, nominal, and GDP deflator. As long as you're given any two, notice for each row, you're given 2 of the values, you can always solve for the third. So let's do that. It just requires some basic algebra manipulation. All right, but first, the first question asks, based on the information given in this table, can we determine which year is the base year? Well, one of the characteristics of a base year, how you know it is the base year, is that both the current and the the current and the nominal are the same thing. Both the nominal GDP and the real GDP are the same. So if you look at this equation, for example, in the base year, let me go back, let me go to B here. What is the value of the GDP deflator in the base year? The value of the GDP deflator in the base year, this is an arbitrary distinction. Economists can choose any year to be their base year, any year they want, whatever their favorite year is. But in that base year, they're going to assign a value of 100 to the deflator. And so that becomes 100. So look up here, and we don't see in our deflator column anywhere where there's 100. But if you look at this formula, if the deflator is 100, and that's in the in the denominator, that's in the bottom of this fraction, the denominator, the 100 is above. So the 100 and the deflator would cancel out, meaning that in the base year, real equals nominal. Okay? So write that out and prove it to yourself that the 100s would in fact cancel, leaving us with, in the base year, real and nominal GDP are the same. Okay, so given that, since we can't tell on the basis of the deflator, you don't see where it's 100, let's look for, do we have any instances where real and nominal are identical? And I would call your attention to right here in 1992, the real GDP and the nominal GDP are identical. So that means that in this case, 1992 has been designated as the base year. We can go ahead and assign it a value of 100 automatically. If you wanted to, go ahead and calculate for that GDP deflator. You would put in the 6244 for real, 6244 for nominal, solve for deflator, and you would in fact get 100. Go ahead and check it. Make sure I'm not lying to you. All right. So let's go with then, which year is the base year? We answered that, 1992. All right, let's go through and do our calculations, and then we can come back and address the situation of Part C. Where did we see a recession? So let's look at this. So let's do this one first, okay? I'm right here, 1991, the first row of my table. I need to solve for real GDP. I need to find real GDP for the year 1991. What I am given is nominal GDP for 1991 and the value of the deflator in 1991. So given those two pieces of information, I come down here and I've done the math for you. I've set up my formula and my equation. Real GDP 91 is going to equal nominal GDP 91 divided by deflator 91 times 100. So I go ahead and I plug in my 5917 and 97.3. 5917, 97.3 times 100, and I get real GDP 6081. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to type in 6081. Yeah, they use the commas, so I guess I'm going to do that. There we go. Okay. So now we can skip 1992 because it's already filled out. Let's jump down to 1993. 1993, I'm looking for nominal. I'm given real GDP in 93 and the deflator in 93, and I need to find nominal. Okay, well, I take the same formula. Real GDP 93 is going to equal nominal GDP 93 divided by deflator 93 times 100. I'm going to plug in what I was given. I was given the 6387 for real GDP 93. I was given the 102.6 for the deflator, and I'm asked to solve for the red. I'm asked to solve for nominal GDP 93. So this is just a little bit of algebra, and you need to brush up on your algebra skills. And everybody learned algebra slightly differently, so I'm not going to go step by step, show you my way, and then you're like, well, that's not how I learned it. So I'm just going to show you what I did. I multiplied both sides by 102.6. Then I divided both sides by 100, and then I got 102.6 times 6387 divided by 100 is going to give me my nominal GDP 93. Again, if I jump, if you don't understand the algebra, stop, go find a YouTube video on your algebra, brush up on your algebra. Granted, it may have been a while since you've had your algebra class, okay? 7th grade algebra, sometimes when I say, it's been a while since I was in 7th grade algebra. So go find Khan Academy, go find a math tutor, or email me if you're really having a tough time. Come by my office hours and we can work one-on-one. on how to do this. I'm not going to spend time here, make this video much longer. For a lot of us that are proficient with our algebra, have been using our algebra. It's not that we're smarter, it's just that our algebra is a little fresher, that's all. Okay, so if you got rusty algebra skills, no worries, but you do need to get them sharpened, okay? All right, so here we go. And so nominal GDP 93, then I got 6553. So let me go back up here and I'm going to enter 6,553. Okay, there we go. Now we've got 3 full rows filled in. I'm going to move down to 1994. 1994 is slightly different. I'm given both the real and the nominal, and I'm asked to solve for the deflator. Well, I can do that. Okay, down here, I do the same thing, same formula. So it's one formula. You're just plugging in your knowns and solving for your unknown. So in this case, real GDP 94 is equal to nominal GDP 94 divided by deflator 94 times 100. So in this case, I'm going to put in the two values that I was given, 6606 for my real, 6936 for my nominal, solving for the red, the deflator value in 94, and the 100 is always there. A lot of students will forget about the 100 and your numbers will come up wrong. So make sure that you don't forget about the times 100. All right, so when I rearrange this, I multiply both sides by the deflator 94 and then divide by 6606, and I get that the deflator 94 is equal to 6936 divided by 6606 times 100. When I plug that into my calculator, I got a 105. So I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to enter my 105. Woo, we are flying. We are almost done. Now back to 95. We've done these problems all the possible ways, right? We've solved for real, we've solved for nominal, and we've solved for deflator. So this is just another practice, just one more time, to solve for real. Given nominal and deflator for 95, can you solve for the real GDP in 95? I have the math already done for you. Set up your formula, same formula. Real GDP in 95 is equal to nominal GDP in 95 divided by the deflator value in 95 times 100. So I'm solving for the red, real GDP 95, plug in 6682 for nominal, 103.6 is the deflator. Don't forget the times 100, and you should get 6450. Let me come back up here, and I'm going to type in 6450. And there we go. Ta-da! We're done. Yay, except let's come back to our question C. In what year did the nation experience a recession? A recession is when real GDP falls for 2 consecutive quarters or more. So it has to be real, not nominal, okay? And so in this case, look for where my GDP fell. So 90 to 91, and we're looking at real. Don't look at nominal, okay? Real GDP, 6081, 6244, it went up. 6244 to 6387, it went up. 6387 to 6606, it went up. But look here, 6450 in 1995 was less than 6606 in 1994. We had a recession from 94 to 95, okay? So in this case, in 1995, this would be the end of, this would be for the year 1995, that would be year-end GDP. So in 1995, from the end of 94 to the end of 95, we had a recession, and that's a year, longer than 2 consecutive quarters. 2 consecutive quarters is 6 months. So obviously we know that from the beginning to the end, we don't know if the recession was the first 2 quarters, it was the whole year, if it was maybe the last year or last quarter of 94 continued into 95. All that we know is from end of 94 to end of 95, our real GDP fell. That's a recession. So 1995 is our answer there. All right, so play with these. You can go take this table, you can change these numbers, right? And play with it a little bit more, get more practice. You have the blank one posted on Canvas. I would close your book, close your notes, and see if you can do these on your own, and then check your answers. You have the answers in this video here, obviously. So just practice, practice, practice. It's one basic formula with 3 possible unknowns, and you'll be given information that you can find 2 of them real easily, and then you just have to solve for the 3rd one. So hopefully this helps. You should be able to knock out that homework problems. If not, if you're still struggling with this, please reach out. Please come see me during my virtual office hours, 11 to noon, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or email me to set up an alternate time. If that doesn't work for you, we can have our own little private Zoom meeting. Otherwise, shoot me an email and we can chat that way, whatever works best for you. If you still are struggling a little with this material, and go practice with the homework. So hopefully by the time you get to the practice on the homework, it'll start to click. The more repetitions, the more times you practice this, the more efficient you'll become, the better you'll become at it. Trust me on that, okay? All right, so I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna upload this one and then go start working on the unemployment lecture to go along with the unemployment handout, which has already been posted. So enjoy, keep working hard. I'm really proud of you guys. You guys are doing a fantastic job, right? I know that you're working hard. I know it's hard with everything being online and everything else going on in your lives with the COVID-19 and so on. So, but let me know what I can do to help, and I will chat with you later on the next video. All right, I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to stop.